Hey everybody, this is Craig Cottle from Nature Reliant School and survival instructor at dansdepot.com. We have been selling quite a few, actually a bunch of these Hennessy hammocks, and we've had some questions on setup and how to make it more comfortable and how to make sure you don't fall out of it and any number of things, which actually with a little bit of knowledge that I'm going to help you with is not going to be a problem on any of those areas. So I'm going to do this video to help you guys out on that. First thing I want to point out is that I use the snake skins on mine. Just makes it just incredibly easy for setup and takedown. And one other thing that I've added, and I've only added this year, is that I've used the straps themselves by themselves and ran the rope through the strap as they come. But what I've done now to make it just even more easier and quicker setup is I've added a carabiner to my strap, and I've got these rappel rings. You can use other rings too. And I'm going to show you how to set this up to make this incredibly easy setup. So the first thing you're going to do is I'm going to show you how to set it up on a big tree and how to set it up on a little tree. If you got a big tree, you simply swing your strap around, and right now I have the rings that I use off of it, and I send my beaner through the hole just like I'm threading a needle, and then I get this to the desired height. And now basically what I have is this through the strap, the beaner's out, and from there I simply add my rappel rings. And again, I'm going to show you what to do here in detail. Before I show you that detail, let's take a look on how to set it up on a tree this small. So basically what I do is I make sure I find the middle, because I've grabbed these two ends and made them even. I put that middle right on the tree, and I just start to wrap around. Super simple. What's cool is that you can either thread, you can do this one of two ways. You can either thread, this beaner back through this hole, or you can just simply clip your beaner into this one, and now I'm pulling from 2 points of this strap. And again, I put my rappel rings on, and I got a super easy setup here. Now we're going to go into the detail on this. So now all I'll do, and the reason I'm carrying this around on my neck is because I can set this up and this hammock will never touch the ground. Meaning if the ground was wet, my bedding and everything is going to stay completely dry around my neck. But with that said, you take your string, your cordage from your hammock, wrap it through both loops. Very important. See how I've got this through both loops. And then I take it back through only one of them, and I pull that tight. What happens is it basically creates a cinch on itself right here. So I'm going to do that on the other side, and then I'm going to show you what else you can do to make this work really quick and easy. So I've done that on that side, and I've also done that on this side. And all I need to do, well, basically first, you don't want this much sag in it, because if you got this much sag in it, when you get in it, you're going to hit the ground. Basically, you're going to pull all the tension out of this. You're going to pull a lot of tension out of it. So first thing you want to do is get both sides to where it's really tight. And a little rule of thumb for me is that if I can stand, and this thing's hitting me about the neck or my face, and it's probably going to be about right when it's set up like this, because you'll see once I open this up what it's going to look like. Now once I get that about where I want it, I'm just going to take in my rope and make a half hitch with a bite. That way, this is basically a safety backup. I'm going to do that on the other side, and then if I need to change the tension, it doesn't work or something, I simply pull this out, and I can pull more tension on that and get as much or as little as I need. So again, just make a half hitch. If you don't know what a half hitch is, check out our video on knot tying, because I go into detail about knots. So take that, pull your half hitch in it, and you got a safety backup. So a little more detail here. Basically, again, I've ran my rope through both of these rings and I just form a half hitch. The key is here, I want to get this half hitch right up against those rings so that there's no slippage, because there's going to be tension that comes out. It gets put into the rope and pulls all the slack out. And if you have this knot closer to these rings, you're not going to have as much slack that comes out when you get in it. So now all I do is I pull my snake skins off. And this is a rain fly. So pull the rain fly off so you can see. So basically my hammock is hanging there now. So you can see now by pulling this taut up to my head. Matter of fact, this might be just a little bit low. The bottom is right here about by my butt. Next thing, that's a real helpful hint after you get everything set up, which if you want to know how to set all this stuff up, then watch my other initial Hennessy hammock video. But a question that keeps coming up is, well, what do you do with your pack and stuff because you can't put it in there? Well, I always have an army poncho or one of my Dan's Depot tarps with me, always. And so what I do is I take my pack, put it on the ground. Basically, well, I don't put it directly on the ground. Put one half of the tarp or the poncho on the ground and then put the pack on it. And then I throw my pack over top of it in case there's pretty inclement weather. And again, I put this side, like you can see that the slope is going this way. Like this is the closed side of the poncho, so any rain that hits goes and runs downhill. So that covers all my gear here. Plus, what I also use this for is that when I get in and out of the hammock, I've got something to step onto so I don't have to put my bare feet down on the ground if it's cold, wet, or whatever. And this is all taken care of on the ground. Also, well, I'll tell you what, I'll get another quick shot of that closer up. Another piece of equipment that I've added that makes this a great setup for me is that this is a very pliable dry bag, which I just noticed I have a hole in. Anyway, basically what I'm gonna do is boots and clothes that I'm gonna put on. I can put them inside my hammock because there's a ridge line to hang stuff off of. But usually what I do is I'll put them in this dry bag. And this is like a canoeman's dry bag or paddler's bag. And I have everything in there. It's waterproof. And then I hang this underneath my hammock. And so, yeah, it's getting cover from the normal rain fly on the hammock, plus it's waterproof. So even if water hits the side and it falls off, everything inside is dry. So the next question that seems to come up a lot, and it's a good question because I had it too. I just couldn't believe it until I got one of these things. But, and again, I got mine free. A guy that, good friend of mine that comes to our classes, gave this one to me, and he didn't care for it, and he's got a different system now that he likes better. Hey, I love bartering. I hope you do too. Practice that. So basically, when you get in, number one, how do you get in? Two, does that Velcro actually close up? So I'm gonna put it on camera so you can see that it does, and how to get in and that it closes up. Basically, get inside the hammock. I'm standing up inside the hammock now. I hope you can see that. Yeah, I think you can. This is the opening. Basically, I'm just gonna slide my butt back into the main portion of the hammock. And all I do is sit down. See how I sit down and put the weight on it? Now I'm gonna lean back. And when I lean back, the Velcro opening is now closed. I hope you can see that. It's really hard to get this on camera. So now I'm in the hammock, everything's great. I sleep, get plenty of sleep. Now when I want to get out, I just kind of pull my feet apart down at the bottom, stick them out, pull myself up, stand up, and I'm out. It's that simple. This is funny. Well, funny to me, I guess. I put all the camera away, and so after I put the camera away, I got a Skype message from the crew at Dan's Depot, and a guy was actually asking a question about how to use this Hennessy hammock. So if you're Ron S., this one's for you, buddy. So the question was, and it's a good question too, is how do I get in my sleeping bag once I'm in there? This is how I started out, and it seems like the best way to do it. is when I first started, I would stand up in my sleeping bag outside and then lay back into my hammock just like I showed you all, and then pull the sleeping bag up around me. For some reason that seemed like the obvious way to do it, because when you first get these things, it's kind of awkward when you get in there. When you get used to them, they're great. When you first get them, might be, excuse me, a little bit awkward. But what I've learned now is that basically I just keep my sleeping bag in there. I get into the hammock with a sleeping bag laying right next to me, and then I throw my legs in, scoot it underneath my butt, pull it up over my shoulders, and then I'm good to go. Wish I knew what your last name was. The other question that came up, and I can't remember if this is from Ron or not, is do I use a pad, or what do I use in there, like a ground cover or anything in there? And yes, I do, and sometimes I don't. If it's really cold weather or if it's really hot weather, I'll use a sleeping pad. If I lay my skin directly on this hammock, I sweat really bad. So I usually put a thermarest pad in there to lay on. What my son does is he just takes a wool blanket in the cold weather and lays it so that there's something between him and the fabric of the hammock, and he puts a sleeping bag on top of that. It works really well. What I did once last year in really cold weather, and it worked incredibly well, was you can buy separate like reflective bubble wraps and lay on them inside your hammock. That reflects the heat back onto you. That works good. Or you can take, in an emergency situation, you can take the casualty blanket, emergency blanket that we supply in the kits, use it that way. You can also just buy like one of those windshield covers that you put on your windshield that have the bubble wrap on them, the reflective wrap on them, and just put that in there as a cheap alternative to buying the real expensive pads. I think I covered this in the other video, but for those of us that are a little bit older and we have to go to the bathroom a couple times a night or once a night or something like that, I keep a water bottle that is carabinered into the taut line that is on top inside the hammock. So if I need to use the bathroom, number one that is, I can do so in the hammock without having to get out in the middle of the night. So I am now going to put up the camera again. If I get another Skype message from the guys, I'll just pull it back out and do it again. But glad you're sending us questions. I'm more than happy to answer them. And the rest of this video you've seen was actually filmed before this section right now. So have a good day. So there you have it. That's some of the hints and trying to answer some of the questions we've been having. Another one is, don't you get rained on? I'm just telling you what, man. I have been in this hammock in some of the craziest weather. I've been in this hammock where the wind and thunder and lightning has been happening so bad that my hammock is swinging probably a 3 or 4 foot swing, and I still did not get wet in that thing. The key is, and that's where I learned the lesson about my gear, because on the bottom is that I always just laid my gear underneath of me and thought that would be enough, but when mine started swinging, it didn't provide a lot of rain cover. That's why I use the poncho on the ground now. So hey, my mistake. You're good nugget of find, so that'll help you so that you don't have the same problem. So that's a Hennessy hammock. Again, this is a Deluxe Explorer ASIM. Yeah, man, I'm tough on the names. But I love this thing, and that's answering some of the questions. And if you have any more, just shoot us an email, give us a call. We'll do everything we can to make a video to help you out. Until next time, I hope to see you on or off the trail.